Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're taking another quick look at KDA, and we'll take a quick peek at Bitcoin as well first too, just so you can kind of get an understanding of what's going on there in case you missed the terror that happened. It wasn't that terrible. It just caused a lot of residual effects where stop losses kept getting triggered, and it just kind of was a large volume day, and we saw about a 9% correction from top to bottom. So unfortunately, a lot of people got caught in the crossfire there, but that does happen. This is Bitcoin. It's susceptible to world news, right? And with all that stuff going on over in China with the real estate, that caused a huge ripple. But right now, we're seeing the price kind of trend around 65,000. I think we'll see it there for a little while, and then obviously it'll recover. I feel to the upside once it breaks its resistance right around 67,000. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on there. And just before we take a look at KDA, if you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been trading for a very long time, and I really just love helping people become better traders, right? So I have a trading community specifically designed for that purpose, where I share all my trades with my members. Link in the description below. Check that out, of course, in your own time. But I would recommend considering subscribing before the month's over, rather, because next month I do have to increase the rates based on the demand, right? We've got a limited amount of slots available too, so check that out. Now, KDA we got 3 strong days here, right? So keep that in mind. The potential for a retracement tomorrow might be there. Granted, the candlestick has a larger wick here, so it's not really a huge concern, but this is trending to become, 3 white soldiers is a candlestick pattern, right? So let's go ahead and take a look here at some of the basics, and then we'll work our way down. All right, so moving averages, nothing to note there, all steady. Obviously, they're too far away to even matter. RSI bounced off of 70, as we know this already. Same thing with the RSI on the 4-hour chart. It's kind of doing the opposite. It's bouncing off of the 70 on the other side, right? So when that happens, it's not a bad thing at all. It's just you want to see the between 50 and 70 on RSI on the 4-hour chart, whereas the 1-day chart, you like to see the candlesticks, obviously, increasing, but you also like to see the RSI over 70, right? If that makes any sense, because it kind of works as a bounce. In this case, you can kind of theorize that it was rejected, but that's only because of the fact that we had this. Hold on, let me get a better view. We have this rejection, so to speak, off of $28.30. Okay, so rejected off of 28.30, came back down. Pretty standard stuff considering how much it increased. It doesn't look like a lot, but big picture, that's quite a lot of movement over the past day and a half. Yep. So all is well with KDA in that sense. It recovered quite quickly. So this is a pretty cool situation here. Now taking a look here at the 1-hour chart, let's go ahead and see kind of what's going on there. We're going to be well above the cloud, but we can see it kind of traveled into it a little bit and bounced off. That's right where that support level of $20.40 held pretty strong. I think that was roughly when things were going south yesterday for Bitcoin. So obviously we had a strong correction, but gave us a better opportunity, right? That's why these negative Bitcoin days can actually be very good if you have just say fiat or USDT, something set aside to ensure you can buy those dips, right? So I always recommend, if you can, keep a small percent of your portfolio, maybe even a 20-25% of your portfolio just in USDT ready to go in case something like that happens, so you can buy the dip, a dollar cost average and get a better price value. But that happened yesterday, of course, for KDA, and it's been jumping up ever since. It recovered, but again, it rejected really hard off of the Fibonacci retracement line at about $28.30. So 28.30 is a current resistance level. But you can kind of see here, I mean, take a look at KDA, right? It jumps up, comes down to next major support. Up, this is a correction, we can disregard that, but it's coming up here, and it's going to probably consolidate right around this next support level here, okay? So it has a tendency of trying to get really high, rejecting out of the next highest Fibonacci retracement line, and then consolidating at the next closest support line. So it's kind of got a pretty steady pattern. So I mean, if you were to try to predict this by any means, you can pretty much anticipate the price to consolidate here and then come back up to one of these next 2 Fibonacci retracement lines. Just based on its history, right? Comes up, rejects, up, reject, and up again. It's literally just doing a nice staircase pattern. That's why it's actually continuing on, right? This is that staircase pattern I teach my patrons. It's a very good thing when the price increases, goes sideways, and then increases again, right? You have that effect of, looks like a staircase, right? So that's kind of a good sign. So all in all, again, we're in very good shape here for KDA. Let's go ahead and go with the big picture here, because we just broke the all-time high here, the most recent all-time high of 25.50, and it shot all the way up to about 28.30. So 28.30 is a new resistance. But just keep in mind, if it comes up there and tests it again, in its history, it's broken its resistance levels with ease, right? It doesn't have any trouble doing so. So just bear that in mind moving forward. If it comes up to try to test this again, it could very well be, a situation where the price will just continue to increase. I usually don't recommend adding to your position at resistance levels. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But if it breaks above and then comes back down, then that's a case point where you want to go ahead and add to your position, such as right now. If you look at this, the previous all-time high is currently right where the price is consolidating. Once you break an all-time high, that becomes a very strong support level. It's stronger than pretty much any other support or resistance lines out there, which is why a lot of times you'll see people add to their position as soon as the price breaks above. All right, so we missed that break above point, but the price is almost back down here, so wouldn't be terrible to consider adding to your position or dollar cost averaging, and essentially considering that it should continue to the upside. Because I would say best case scenario here, again, definitely no hype, of course, but generally speaking with KDA, we're looking at about 35.75 as a better case scenario in the relative near future. Now, when I say relative near future, we think about it this way: it's taken 5 days for KDA to get from $15 up to $28. So for it to be able to get to 35, we could probably anticipate that happening within the next 2 to 3 days, right? Just based on its history, it could even literally get there today. We don't truly know, but I'd speculate that we're going to be in pretty good shape here moving forward. I don't expect a major retracement in place because we don't have anything that's causing bearish sentiment. There's no bearish divergence. There's nothing I see on the charts that tell us that KDA is bearish by any means. So I think it's just going to keep on continuing on. We'll see 35 likely here in a few days, and I think that we'll just take a look at that once we get there closer. But I'll just keep a close eye on it moving forward. Of course, I'm going to make this reviews daily or perhaps even twice a day, just to ensure we kind of catch the behavior as it progresses. But KDA, I think it's here to play, and it's definitely a good consideration for another long position. So obviously, do what you feel most comfortable. If you were to jump in and take entry, make sure you set your profit targets just below the resistance lines here, right? So for example, 29.50 instead of 29.75. Furthermore, if you're looking at about 31.82 as the resistance level here, put your profit target at 31.75. Okay, so on and so forth. Instead of 35.75, just make it 35 even or 35.50, something along those lines. If you put your profit targets just below the major retracement lines, then you're going to likely get filled almost every time. Because you look at the history here, every single time it pumps up, it goes right to that major resistance level, and it comes back down. So why not get filled at that level, right? Again, that's why you have multiple profit targets. That's why we have a trading bots in place, because large exchanges don't allow it for you to have multiple targets in place. So I do recommend 3 commas as a potential option. It's a very, very good platform. We use Coinstats in our trading community because it's integrated with Telegram. You can just do it all through mobile. It's very fast and efficient. And then you can just one-click follow my trades if you'd like, right? It's all kind of part of the community, but generally speaking, highly recommend something like that. And always, if nothing else, set a trailing stop loss that moves up with your profit targets. Okay. I can teach you how to do that if you're interested, of course. Feel free to reach out, but that is all I have here for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and obviously like and subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate that. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you again tomorrow for KDA. Take care.